Imagine for a moment that quiet, persistent tug, that feeling of always being on a stage, performing a version of yourself you think others want to see. You're constantly watching everyone else, scrolling through curated lives, and that gnawing sense of not enough, well, it lingers. We've all been there, right? Wearing these invisible masks, adapting ourselves to fit into every group, every expectation. And what's the result? Exhaustion, a deep disconnect from who we truly are, maybe even a sense of mourning for the person we feel we should be instead of the person we actually are. But what if the very thing you're trying to hide, your undeniable, beautiful uniqueness, is actually the secret key to profound joy and fulfillment?
That's the core question we're exploring today.
Exactly. In this deep dive, we're going to pull back the curtain on this pervasive struggle. We've sifted through a stack of insightful sources: psychology, neuroscience, articles on authenticity, self-celebration, really fascinating stuff. Our mission today is clear: to unpack why we get caught in this insidious comparison trap, why we sometimes feel compelled to suppress our most authentic selves, and how this internal conflict truly impacts our well-being.
And more importantly, we want to illuminate the transformative power of truly embracing what makes you, you.
Yes. And we're not just talking theory here. We're going to lay out a clear roadmap with practical, actionable strategies, things you can actually use. Strategies for not just accepting, but truly celebrating your individuality. This isn't just about feeling good momentarily. It's about unlocking a richer, more meaningful life. So let's get into it. So to kick us off, let's unpack this. Why do we find ourselves constantly performing, trying to be someone we're not? It's like there's this, pervasive media hype and endless advice telling us how we should look, behave, or even live our lives. It feels relentless, doesn't it?
It really does. And what's fascinating here is that this isn't just a modern phenomena, like something caused only by social media, although that certainly amplifies it. It's actually deeply wired within us. It's part of our ancient evolutionary heritage.
Evolutionary? How so?
Well, as humans, there's an inherent, almost primal need to belong. Think way back to our earliest ancestors. If you veer too far from the group's expectations or norms, maybe you challenged the leader or didn't pull your weight or just acted too differently, it could literally carry a real price.
A real price, like
losing status within the tribe, damage to your reputation, or even in extreme cases, a threat to survival by being ostracized, kicked out of the group. And back then, being alone was incredibly dangerous. So this profound need for social acceptance meant that conforming became a highly adaptive survival strategy.
Okay, so fitting in literally helped us survive.
Exactly. So it becomes seemingly safer and easier, even instinctual sometimes, to suppress our true thoughts, our real feelings, or aspects of our personality, rather than risk standing out and potentially facing rejection. And this is the crucial insight from our sources for today's world. This deep-seated survival mechanism, though once vital, comes at a significant cost to real connection now.
How does it cost us connection?
Because when you're constantly performing, putting on a front, others ultimately engage with a persona or a false mask instead of your true self. You might feel seen, maybe even accepted on a superficial level, but it's not actually you they're seeing or connecting with. And that can lead to this profound sense of loneliness, even when you're surrounded by people.
So that's such a powerful point, that feeling of being lonely in a crowd. And this internal pressure, combined with all those external influences, can lead us to become what one source describes as social chameleons, right?
Social chameleons, constantly changing.
Constantly changing our desires, sometimes even our core opinions, just to fit whatever mold seems required at that moment. It's like we're shape-shifting for every situation: family dinner, work meeting, hanging out with friends, different masks for different occasions.
It's exhausting just thinking about it.
Totally. And one of our sources really highlights this feeling of spending a life making comparisons or trying to please everyone: parents, friends, partners, bosses, teachers, you name it, even strangers online. And in doing that, we inadvertently forget our own value in the process. We lose touch with what we actually want or think.
It's not just tiring, it's a recipe for feeling utterly lost. You're so busy trying to be what everyone else wants that you lose sight of who you genuinely are deep down.
Yeah, the sheer energy drain of keeping that facade up must be immense. It leaves us feeling perpetually, not quite there and disconnected from our deepest selves.
Precisely. And beyond these external pressures pushing us to conform, there's an internal battle raging as well.
Ah, yes, the comparison trap. We've all heard the phrase, comparison is the thief of joy, countless times. We know it intellectually. But it can feel like an uncontrollable reflex, can't it? You see someone with a higher paying job, or they seem more productive in their research, or maybe they just have a nicer apartment.
Or more followers, or a seemingly perfect relationship.
Exactly. And instantly, that little voice pipes up in your head telling you, I'm not as good as them. It's incredibly difficult to just shut that voice off.
It is. And this constant comparison, as our sources put it, saps us of our self-confidence and self-belief. It chips away at us. They describe it as a toxic cycle that's built into many of our minds. It seems especially prevalent in environments where everyone is trying to figure themselves out and the comparison is just through the roof.
Like maybe in university or early in your career.
Definitely. Think about an academic setting. Students constantly comparing grades, internships, research progress, or those early career stages where everyone's striving to define success, and you see others hitting milestones that seem miles away for you. That internal voice can get really loud. It leaves us feeling like we're not doing enough or simply not good enough.
And it's not just about feeling bad, is it? There's something deeper happening.
Yes. Comparison, especially the kind fueled by those perfectly curated social media feeds, actually triggers a specific part of our brain, the part designed for resource allocation and social ranking. It's ancient wiring again. It makes us feel genuinely deprived and anxious, like we're lacking something essential for survival, even when objectively we might have plenty. It's a primal response misfiring in a modern context.
Wow. So it creates this deep-seated feeling of inadequacy that isn't even based on reality necessarily, but on this skewed comparison.
Exactly. It arises not from an objective lack, but from a subjective, often distorted comparison.
So it sounds like comparison is almost universally damaging. And yet, you sometimes hear people say, well, looking at others' success can be motivating, right? Maybe use it as a benchmark for improvement. Is there a healthy way to use comparison, or is it fundamentally just toxic when it comes to self-acceptance? Because that self-critical voice that usually rides shotgun with comparison, that doesn't feel like a healthy benchmark. It feels like it's just tearing you down.
You're hitting on a really crucial distinction there, that self-criticism isn't just a bad habit or a minor annoyance. It's intricately linked to our brain's deeply ingrained threat system.
The threat system. Tell me more about that.
Okay, so our sources explain that when our brain detects a trigger, and this could be a specific situation like getting critical feedback, or even just a thought about a past failure or a future worry, or an uncomfortable emotion like shame or fear, it automatically shifts into this threat mode. Think of it as our ancient amygdala firing up, the system designed for fight, flight, or freeze. Its primary job is self-protection.
Okay, survival mode.
Right. And when that threat system is active, it triggers a whole cascade of emotional responses, anxiety, anger, maybe even depression. These emotions are actually designed to motivate us to protect ourselves from whatever the perceived danger is. And then you get the corresponding behavioral responses. You want to fight back, run away, or just shut down, fight, flight, or freeze.
And how does self-criticism fit in?
Here's where it gets particularly insidious. Our internal self-talk, our inner monologue in this threat state becomes highly negative, disparaging, and berating. We find ourselves doing things like calling ourselves stupid or an idiot after making a small mistake, or maybe constantly hurling a barrage of abuse at ourselves for not being perfect or not meeting some impossibly high standard.
Oof, yeah, that sounds familiar.
And this isn't just unproductive self-flagellation. It actually keeps this threat system active. It prolongs our pain and suffering. It essentially keeps us stuck in a perpetual cycle of distress. In modern life, this system often gets triggered by perceived social threats. A critical email, feeling left out, that comparison we talked about, activating the same primal response as if a predator were chasing us.
So our brain reacts to a critical comment like it's a saber-toothed tiger.
In essence, yes, the physiological response can be very similar. And this prevents our prefrontal cortex, the part of our brain responsible for rational thought, planning, problem solving, from fully engaging. We're literally not thinking straight when we're deep in self-criticism. And over time, this can lead to really severe consequences, like a pervasive sense of self-loathing or even self-hatred, where we genuinely start to believe we don't deserve better treatment, kindness, or success.
It becomes a vicious loop then. The self-criticism reinforces the threat, which fuels more self-criticism.
Exactly. And it can become incredibly difficult to break free from that pattern without conscious effort and specific strategies.
Okay, so if constantly comparing ourselves and trying to fit in is so exhausting and, frankly, damaging, What's the alternative? What does it actually mean to embrace you? It sounds great, liberating even, but what are we really talking about? How do we even begin to define this unique you?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Individuality at its core is quite simply the quality or character of a particular person or thing that distinguishes them from others of the same kind. Our sources clarify that it's essentially all the things that make you unique and different from everyone else.
Like what kind of thing?
Oh, everything. Your specific personality quirks, the way you laugh, your particular sense of humor, your deeply held beliefs, and core values. The sum total of your life experiences, the triumphs, the struggles, the lessons learned, your unique blend of talents and skills, your passions, your interests, your fears. Everything in between. It's the confluence of countless factors, genetics, upbringing, culture, choices you've made, people you've met, making it genuinely impossible for any two people, even identical twins raised together, to be truly identical in their life experiences or perspectives.
So each of us is like a one-of-a-kind tapestry.
Exactly. You are, in essence, a singular, unrepeatable event in the universe, a unique tapestry woven from an infinite number of threads.
Wow. Okay. But it's important to clarify what individuality isn't, right? Because sometimes it gets twisted.
Absolutely crucial. Our sources make it very clear. Embracing your individuality is not an excuse to be selfish or narcissistic, or to constantly put your needs above everyone else's without consideration. Healthy relationships, functional teams, a thriving society. These all depend on a vital balance of give and take, empathy, and consideration for others. Individuality doesn't mean isolation or disregard.
And it doesn't mean you're better or worse than others.
Not at all. Since we all fundamentally unique, it's completely impossible to truly compare ourselves to others in a meaningful, objective way. Their life experiences, their perspectives, their internal world will never be identical to yours. So embracing individuality is about recognizing and valuing your own unique journey and qualities, and understand that everyone else also has their own distinct path and their own rich internal world. It's about being uniquely you, not trying to be a better version of someone else, and certainly not a reason to look down on others for being different. It's about accepting your own specific flavor of humanity, and ideally, in doing so, gaining a deeper appreciation for all the diverse flavors around you.
That distinction is so important. Being individual isn't about being superior, it's about being authentic. So embracing your individuality then means being true to yourself and expressing your authentic self. It sounds liberating, as we said, but what does that truly look like in day-to-day life? It's easy to say, be authentic, but how do we know if we're doing it? Where do we even start?
Well, authenticity, according to the research we looked at, stems from knowing what's important to you, your values, your beliefs, your passions, and remaining true to these values in the face of external pressures and expectations. Fit with now. When you act from an authentic place, you are significantly less likely to let those external pressures from society, peers, family, whoever, fundamentally change who you truly are.
Change how you express yourself, maybe, or who you hang out with.
Exactly. How you express yourself, who you connect with authentically, how you choose to spend your precious time and energy. It's deeply personal, so it manifests differently for everyone. But some common behaviors often shared among those who live and act authentically include things like bringing one's whole self to work or a relationship.
Meaning not putting on a different face for work versus home.
Precisely. Not compartmentalizing yourself based on who you're with.
Yeah.
It could be someone who's authentically passionate about vintage fashion, choosing to wear their unique style to a corporate meeting, rather than conforming to a strict dress code that feels totally unnatural to them. Or, maybe for an introvert, it might mean politely declining a large, loud social gathering because they know it will drain them. Rather than feeling obligated to go and then suffering afterwards, they're honoring their true needs.
Okay, what else?
Speaking your mind. Letting others know where you stand on things, even if what you have to say isn't particularly popular or if it challenges the status quo. Doing so respectfully, of course, but clearly. It also involves taking responsibility for your actions, owning your mistakes, and not blaming them on someone else. And consistently keeping promises, following through on commitments you make, both to yourself and to others.
So it's really about integrity, making sure your inside matches your outside.
That's a great way to put it. Ensuring your internal beliefs and values align with your external actions and expressions.
So why is this so crucial? What's the real, tangible impact of living authentically? Beyond just feeling a bit better, what are the broader benefits we can expect?
Oh, the benefits are profound and really far-reaching, touching pretty much every aspect of your well-being. Our sources consistently indicate that embracing your individuality significantly improves your mental health.
How does it do that?
Well, first, it builds your self-awareness. You become much more acutely aware of your own thoughts, emotions, motivations, and values. You get to know yourself on a deeper level. This enhanced self-awareness, in turn, boosts your self-esteem because you start to genuinely value your unique perspective and your intrinsic worth, rather than seeking validation externally. It also helps you find a greater sense of purpose in life. When you're clear on who you are and what truly matters to you, it's much easier to align your actions and goals with that internal compass.
Which leads to feeling more confident.
Definitely. It leads to feeling much more confident and generally more comfortable in your own skin. Why? Because you're no longer fighting against yourself or wasting enormous amounts of energy maintaining a false persona. Think about the cognitive load, the mental energy required to constantly pretend or monitor yourself. Shedding that burden brings immense relief and frees up energy.
That makes sense. So more confidence, more purpose. What else?
Greater life satisfaction. You become more satisfied because you're living according to your own values and beliefs, rather than, as one source colorfully put it, just following along with the rest of the sheep in the herd. That sense of internal congruence, living in alignment with yourself, leads to deeper contentment.
And personal growth.
Yes, it naturally fosters personal growth. When you're not constrained by the fear of judgment or the need to conform, you're more likely to try new things, explore opportunities for learning and development, and step outside your comfort zone in ways that are meaningful to you. Furthermore, it's incredibly healthy for diversity in a broader sense. Celebrating your own differences often leads to a greater awareness of and appreciation for others' differences.
How does that help?
Well, appreciating diversity can spark more creative and innovative solutions to problems because you have a wider range of perspectives coming together. It can help break down societal stereotypes and cultivate a stronger sense of shared humanity, connecting with people even if they're different from you. And finally, when you're authentic, you're naturally more dedicated to your passions. You find yourself spending time on pursuits that genuinely inspire you, that light you up, and that keep you moving forward with enthusiasm.
It really sounds like a virtuous cycle, doesn't it? Authenticity leads to confidence, which leads to growth, which leads to deeper connection.
It's exactly a cycle of fulfillment, positive contribution, and genuine connection, both with yourself and with others.
Okay, this all sounds incredible. This promise of confidence, fulfillment, true connection. Who wouldn't want that? But the big question that always follows is, how? How do we actually do it? Where do we begin this journey of embracing our unique selves, especially if we've spent, maybe a lifetime doing the opposite?
That's the crucial next step, isn't it? Moving from understanding to action. And a foundational step, one that is repeatedly highlighted in all the sources we looked at, is cultivating self-love.
Self-love, that term gets thrown around a lot. What does it really mean in this context?
It's not about ego or narcissism, let's be clear about that. It's fundamentally about self-respect and acknowledging the beautiful, complex person you are. Right now, imperfections and all. It means being happy with the person you are today and embracing your uniqueness, not waiting until you achieve some future state of perfection.
And a key part of that is dealing with the inner critic we talked about.
Absolutely. A huge part of self-love is learning to actively silence the inner critic, or at least turn down his volume, and consciously replacing that relentless negative self-talk with positive, encouraging, and realistic thoughts. And this isn't a one-time fix like flipping a switch. It's a daily practice, much like tending a garden. You have to weed out the negative thoughts and actively plant and nurture the positive ones.
How do you do that practically?
It involves conscious cognitive reframing. Catching those automatic negative thoughts, I'm so stupid, I'll never be good enough, and deliberately challenging them. Asking yourself, is this thought truly accurate? Is it helpful? What's a kinder, more realistic way to view the situation or myself? And then actively rephrasing it.
Okay, so challenging the critic. What else builds self-love?
This ties directly into self-celebration, which sounds maybe a bit fluffy, but it's actually an active and incredibly powerful form of self-care and self-love.
Self-celebration, like throwing a party for yourself.
It could be, but usually it's much smaller and more internal. It involves consciously acknowledging your achievements and your personal growth, no matter how small they might seem. Did you try something new today, even if it felt scary? Did you manage to speak your mind kindly but clearly? Did you learn one small new thing? Did you handle a difficult situation better than you might have last year? Celebrate it. Acknowledge it internally.
And why is that so important?
From a mental well-being perspective, self-celebration does several things. It reinforces positive thought patterns and beliefs about your capabilities. It significantly enhances self-confidence. It deepens self-acceptance. And it actively cultivates self-compassion. Crucially, it directly combats that negative self-talk and self-criticism we discussed, the stuff that keeps the threat system buzzing. By focusing on wins, however small, you reduce the power of the inner critic.
So it can actually help with anxiety and depression.
Yes, research suggests it can reduce symptoms of anxiety and depression. Celebrating yourself fosters a healthier mindset, helping you build resilience and approach life's inevitable challenges with greater optimism. And get this, when we acknowledge and celebrate ourselves, studies even show neurochemical changes happening in the brain.
Like what?
You get a release of dopamine, the neurotransmitter associated with reward and motivation. This reinforces that positive feeling and actually motivates you to repeat the behavior that led to the win. So, self-celebration can become a powerful, self-sustaining habit. You also often get a release of oxytocin, often called the love hormone or bonding hormone. This fosters feelings of safety, connection, and trust, even connection and trust with yourself. It brings profound calming benefits. It's a powerful feedback loop that literally helps rewire your brain for greater well-being.
That's fascinating, the idea of neurochemical changes just from celebrating yourself. But okay, often being kind to ourselves, being self-compassionate, it feels incredibly difficult. We seem to be experts at self-criticism. We've had a lot of practice, right? But self-compassion sometimes seems elusive, maybe even feels alien or, I don't know, undesirable, like it's weak.
You've hit on such a critical point there. Self-compassion is crucial, and you're right, it often feels hard. But the good news is it's a skill. And like any skill, it absolutely can be developed with practice. Our sources break it down into 4 key elements, which can make it feel more concrete and less abstract.
Okay, what are they?
First, awareness. This just means being attentive or sensitive to your own pain or suffering. Noticing when you're hurting, whether that's emotional pain like sadness or frustration, mental distress like anxiety or physical discomfort.
Yeah.
It's about not ignoring it, suppressing it, or trying to tuck it out without acknowledging it. It's simply acknowledging, ouch, this hurts right now.
Okay, notice the pain. Step 1.
Step 2 is normalizing. This is about recognizing that this pain, this struggle, this imperfection is a universal human experience. It's not some personal fault or failing on your part. You are absolutely not alone in experiencing difficulty, making mistakes, or feeling inadequate sometimes. This is part of the shared human condition.
So I'm not alone in feeling this way.
Exactly. Step 3 is kindness. Once you're aware of the pain and have normalized it, you meet that pain with feelings of care, warmth, and concern, just as you would instinctively offer to a struggling friend or a loved one you care about deeply. It's about treating yourself with that same empathy, patience, and gentleness.
Talking to yourself like you'd talk to a good friend.
Precisely. And the 4th element is alleviation. This involves focusing your energy on ways to actually ease the pain or soothe yourself. This might involve providing further comfort and caring actions, like taking a break, doing something relaxing. It could mean offering yourself a helpful, balanced perspective on the situation, or it might involve finding the strength and courage to take necessary actions to address the problem you're facing, but from a place of care rather than self-attack.
Can you give a quick example?
Sure. Let's use that mistake at work scenario again. You sent an email with a typo or missed a deadline. Awareness is noticing the pit in your stomach, the racing thoughts, the "I'm such an idiot" internal dialogue. Normalizing is thinking, okay, everyone makes mistakes sometimes. This is frustrating, but it's human. My colleagues have probably done similar things. Kindness might be placing a hand over your heart, taking a deep breath, and mentally saying something like, "This feels really uncomfortable right now, and that's okay. It's hard to feel like I messed up." And alleviation could be taking a few more deep breaths to calm your nervous system, then focusing on a constructive plan. Okay, what can I do now? I can send a correction email. I can apologize if needed. I can figure out what led to this and how to prevent it next time. You're addressing it, but from a place of self-support, not self-blame.
That makes it much clearer. Awareness, normalizing, kindness, alleviation.
And the profound benefit of practicing this, especially the kindness part, is its ability to activate our soothe system.
The soothe system.
Yeah.
You mentioned threat, drive, and soothe earlier.
Yes, so our emotions, as described in one compelling framework, are governed by these 3 main systems. The threat system, always scanning for dangers, real or perceived, including our own flaws or mistakes. Keeps us safe, but can lead to chronic anxiety and criticism. The drive system spurs us to achieve goals, seek rewards, get things done. Important, but can lead to burnout, perfectionism, and can easily flip us into the threat system if we fail or feel inadequate. And the soothe system. This system is associated with feelings of calm, safety, contentment, and connection. It has a calming, regulating influence on the other 2 systems.
And self-compassion activates soothe.
Exactly. When we are self-compassionate, when we offer ourselves warmth, kindness, gentle touch, soothing words, we trigger the release of oxytocin. This hormone brings those calming benefits. It can lower heart rate and blood pressure, activate the vagus nerve, which promotes a relaxation, and foster feelings of safety and overall life contentment. It's essentially an internal biological mechanism for self-regulation and peace. It allows our rational prefrontal cortex to come back online so we can think clearly and act constructively rather than being hijacked by primal fear or harsh self-judgment.
So self-compassion isn't just being nice to yourself, it's physiologically calming your threat response.
Precisely. It's actively sending safety signals to your nervous system.
But you acknowledge it can be hard. Why is it so difficult for so many of us?
There are several reasons. For some, it might be due to underdeveloped soothe systems from early life experiences. If caregivers weren't consistently warm, responsive, or soothing, those neural pathways for self-soothing might not have been strongly established in childhood. We simply didn't learn how. Our brain also has a natural negativity bias. The threat system tends to be more dominant and easily triggered than the soothe system. It's a survival thing. Many people also just lack awareness that self-kindness is even an option. They operate on autopilot, constantly self-criticizing because it's what they've always done, maybe what they saw modeled. Or, and this is a big barrier, they hold negative beliefs about self-compassion. They think it's touchy-feely, self-indulgent, weak, or that it will lead to laziness, lower standards, or a lack of motivation.
Yeah, I've definitely heard that if I'm kind to myself, I'll just let myself off the hook.
Right. But our sources and a growing body of research are very clear. Self-compassion does the opposite. It actually builds resilience. It fosters motivation, intrinsic motivation, driven by care, not fear. And it enables healthy, constructive action because you're not paralyzed by shame or self-attack.
Yeah.
It's a skill, a strength even. And like any skill, it can absolutely be developed and strengthened through consistent conscious practice. It takes time, but it's possible.
Okay, so we're working on self-love, self-celebration, self-compassion internally. Beyond these crucial internal practices, how do we get clearer on what actually makes us uniquely us? How do we identify our actual strengths, the things we're genuinely good at, so we can lean into them and bring them into our lives more fully? How do we find that clear definition of me at my best?
That's where reflection becomes an incredibly powerful tool, almost like holding up a mirror to your own experiences. Reflection helps us uncover our true passions and innate strengths by looking back, often with curiosity and non-judgment, at activities we genuinely enjoyed or naturally excelled in.
So asking ourselves specific questions.
Exactly. It's about asking yourself introspective questions like, when did you feel completely absorbed in that state of flow, that state where you lose track of time because you're so engaged? Or what topics are you genuinely curious about? What do you find yourself spontaneously researching or learning about just for the sheer joy of it, not because you have to? What activities bring you pure delight, simple joy, without any external pressure or reward? Here's a great one. What looks like hard work to other people but actually feels like fun or play to you? That's often a huge clue to your natural, effortless strengths. Or think about times you felt completely aligned with what you were doing, like you were exactly where you were supposed to be, using your best talents.
And what do you do with the answers?
The goal is to set aside some quiet time, maybe grab a journal or open a document, and just write down everything that comes to mind in response to these questions. Don't censor yourself, don't judge it, just let it flow. And the key is repetition. By repeatedly doing this reflection exercise, maybe once a month or every few months, you'll start to notice themes. As one source puts it, patterns will emerge and will guide you toward your areas of true strength.
And this helps distinguish what we're actually good at from what we wish we were good at.
Precisely. It helps us distinguish desired strengths, things you want to be good at, perhaps due to external influences, societal expectations, ego, or maybe seeing someone else succeed at it from your actual strengths, the things that are authentically yours. We had that example earlier. Someone might want to be a star coder purely for the status, but their actual strength, revealed through reflection on when they feel energized and effective, might be combining decent programming skills with exceptional people skills and communication abilities.
Leading them to thrive as, say, a developer advocate instead of a pure coder.
Exactly. Leveraging their unique combination. Our strengths are often, as one source beautifully put it, hidden in plain sight. They feel so natural and effortless to us that we don't even recognize them as strengths. We assume everyone can do it easily, or we simply take them for granted. Reflection helps bring these invaluable, often overlooked qualities to the surface. It shines a light on what truly makes you distinctive and where your unique power lies.
Okay, reflection is powerful, but here's where it gets really interesting you mentioned earlier. It's not just about what we think our strengths are. We can actually get a 360-degree view of ourselves through an exercise called the Reflected Best Self, or RBS. This involves asking other people how they see you when you're at your best. That sounds potentially amazing, but maybe also a bit scary.
It can feel vulnerable, definitely.
Yeah.
But the RBS is potentially transformative, precisely because it helps us examine the impact we've made on people in different spheres of our lives. It helps overcome our inherent self-perception biases. We often tend to downplay our strengths or magnify our perceived flaws. Others can see us more objectively sometimes.
So how does it work practically?
It's about systematically collecting feedback. You reach out to 10 or more people who've seen you at your best. And this should be a diverse group, not just current colleagues, but perhaps family members, close friends, past teachers or professors, mentors, maybe people from volunteer groups or clubs, former bosses, people who've known you in different contexts and seen different facets of you.
And what do you ask them? Just what are my strengths?
The question is more specific and evocative. It's something like, I'm doing an exercise to better understand myself when I'm at my best. Could you please take a few minutes to describe a time or times where you've seen me operating at my very best? What was I doing? What qualities was I demonstrating? And what impact did I have on you or the situation? You're asking for specific stories and examples, not just general adjectives.
Why are stories better?
Because stories contain rich details about your actions, the context, and the impact you had, which is often where the clues to your unique strengths lie. People who know us well are often surprisingly better at identifying our actual strengths because they've seen us in action, often when we weren't even consciously trying to demonstrate a strength. They have that objective distance and a different perspective.
You mentioned an example earlier, the entrepreneur whose mother spotted his talent.
Yes. He recounted how his mother was the first to point out his specific knowledge and talent for business critique. From a young age, she observed him naturally dissecting why local shops operated the way they did, what worked, what didn't. He was just curious, but she saw an innate strength, even though his own aspiration at the time was to be an astrophysicist. He later realized she was right, and he leveraged that very strength to immense success in venture capital and tech, understanding businesses at a deep, intuitive level. That kind of external validation and insight can be incredibly eye-opening and affirming.
Okay, so you gather maybe 10, 15, 20 of these stories from different people. What then?
Then comes the analysis. You read through all these rich responses, and honestly, it can be quite a moving and validating experience just to read how others perceive you positively. You look for recurring patterns, common themes, specific skills or qualities that are mentioned repeatedly across different stories and different people. You'll likely find commonalities, sometimes surprising ones, strengths you might not have initially considered because, again, they come so naturally to you.
And these themes form the basis of the self-portrait.
Exactly. These themes, ideally combined with the insights from your own internal reflection, your self-assessment, then form a self-portrait. This isn't just a list of strengths. It's a concise, written declaration, maybe 1-2 paragraphs, that answers the question. Who am I when I'm at my absolute best? What are my core unique strengths, values, and the impact I have when I leverage them?
That sounds incredibly powerful. But then what? You have this portrait.
The final, and arguably most challenging but also most rewarding step, is to redesign your life around your strengths. This isn't about radically changing everything overnight, usually. It means making conscious choices to spend more time engaging in activities and taking on roles or projects that utilize your core strengths. It means optimizing your life decisions, career choices, relationship dynamics, hobbies to better leverage these unique abilities. It means actively seeking opportunities to deepen your mastery in those strength areas. And yes, sometimes it might mean reorienting your career path significantly to align more closely with your unique capabilities and passions.
So it's about intentionally shaping your life to play to your strengths, rather than constantly trying to fix your weaknesses or fit into a mold that doesn't suit you.
Precisely. It's about escaping that endless competition treadmill through authenticity. Because when you operate from your unique constellation of strengths, you're not really competing in the traditional sense. You're simply being incomparable. You're offering something only you can offer. And this isn't just about feeling good, although that's a huge part of it. It's about maximizing your positive impact on the world and creating a life that feels genuinely fulfilling and right for you from the inside out.
Okay, so armed with this newfound self-awareness, this clearer self-portrait of who we are at our best, what are the actionable steps we can take, like starting tomorrow, every day, to truly live our unique truth and step into that joy we're talking about? Where do we start translating all this insight into daily action?
Great question. It boils down to small, consistent actions. First, and this sounds simple but can be hard, consciously express yourself. Again, it doesn't mean you have to become some flamboyant character overnight if that's not you, but it means actively allowing your genuine individuality, your thoughts, your style, your interests, your humor, to show in ways that feel authentic to you. Our sources acknowledge this will likely feel challenging, maybe even terrifying, especially if you've spent years conforming. You'll be stepping outside your comfort zone, potentially facing judgment, real or imagined. But the key is to start small, to dip your toe in the water, as they say, to gradually get comfortable.
Give me an example of dipping a toe in.
Maybe it's wearing a slightly bolder color or accessory than usual, or sharing a quirky interest you usually keep hidden with a trusted friend. Or perhaps speaking up with a unique perspective in a team meeting, when you might normally stay silent, even if your voice shakes a little. These gentle steps build confidence and slowly expand that comfort zone around self-expression.
Okay, express yourself, start small. What's next?
Second, consciously allow yourself to do what brings you joy. This is simpler than it sounds, but profoundly impactful in shifting your energy and focus. As one source advises, make it a guiding principle. If it brings you joy, then do more of it. And if it takes away from your joy, then do less of it. This could be as wonderfully simple as indulging in those quirky interests you might have previously hidden or felt embarrassed about, like the example shared in our sources of someone having their Spice Girls dolls overseeing their work desk because, hey, it brought them joy.
Huh. I love that. It's not about grand gestures necessarily.
Not at all. Sometimes it's about embracing the delightful, quirky details that genuinely light you up, regardless of what others think. The more you consciously focus on and make space for these things, the more comfortable and confident you become in expressing those authentic parts of yourself. It's that positive reinforcement loop again, guiding you towards your unique path of happiness.
Makes sense. Do more of what brings joy. What else?
Third, actively explore your passions and interests. These aren't just fleeting whims or distractions. They are often deep reflections of what truly draws you, what energizes you, and what helps you learn more about your unique identity. So dedicate intentional time, even if it's just small pockets, to creative outlets that call to you: writing, painting, playing music, coding, gardening, cooking, fashion design, volunteering for a cause you believe in, even complex problem solving in a specific niche you find fascinating. These pursuits provide a powerful outlet for your unique creativity and perspective. They help you feel more comfortable, confident, and capable in your own skin because you are actively engaging with the things that make you feel alive and authentic.
Okay, explore passions. Number 4.
Fourth, deliberately be open to trying new things. We often limit ourselves based on past experiences or assumptions about what we'll like or be good at. But the only way to truly know something resonates with your authentic self is to actually try it. So challenge yourself gently. Maybe aim to try one new, small thing each week. It doesn't have to be a huge, life-altering commitment.
Like what kind of small thing?
Maybe trying a new type of food or restaurant, taking a different route on your walk or commute, listening to a genre of music you normally dismiss, signing up for a free introductory online workshop on a topic you're vaguely curious about, visiting a different park or neighborhood in your city, reading a book outside your usual genre. By committing to and following through on this small, consistent exploration over a year, you'll have tried 52 new things. It's highly probable you'll have discovered new joys, new skills, maybe new perspectives, and new facets of yourself that resonate deeply with your unique being. Plus, this active exploration builds neuroplasticity. It keeps your brain flexible, adaptable, and open to growth.
I like that. One small new thing a week. Manageable, but adds up.
Okay, and finally, a crucial reinforcement that really brings us full circle. Consciously, actively, avoid comparisons. We talked about how damaging it is. Now it's about putting that into practice. Remind yourself, frequently if needed, that there is genuinely no point in comparing yourself to others because everyone's circumstances, genetics, upbringing, opportunities, challenges, choices, their entire life experience are profoundly unique.
It's never apples to apples.
Never. As our sources emphasize, you are who you are as a result of an infinite number of factors, and no other person on this planet has exactly the same combination. Not even identical twins have completely identical experiences or internal worlds. When you compare yourself, you're usually comparing your messy, behind-the-scenes reality with all its struggles and doubts to someone else's carefully curated highlight reel. especially online. It's a fundamentally unfair, inaccurate, and frankly pointless exercise.
So what's the alternative focus?
Instead of feeling inadequate by looking sideways at others, focus intensely, laser-like, on your own journey. Focus on being the best possible version of yourself. If you must compare yourself only to the you of yesterday and the person you aspire to be in a year from now. Is your trajectory moving in a direction that feels authentic and meaningful to you? That consistent internal progression is the most meaningful and healthiest measure of growth.
Focusing on your own path, your own progress.
Exactly. Remember that powerful quote from one of our sources. Life is complex, confusing, and comparison is just not necessary, counterproductive, and in the end, ignorant of a lot of things. It truly is the thief of joy, and it's a formidable barrier to finding happiness and fulfillment in your own unique existence. Letting go of it is key. Hashtag etc.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, it feels really clear, doesn't it? The journey to finding joy in your uniqueness is fundamentally about shedding that immense, heavy burden of comparison and inauthenticity.
It really is. It's about understanding deep down that the continuous self-criticism, that relentless pressure to conform, it only prolongs our suffering. It keeps us stuck in cycles that drain our energy, our spirit, our potential.
But the alternative path, the one we've been exploring, is about consciously choosing something different. It's about actively cultivating self-love, embracing the profound power of self-compassion when we stumble.
And reflecting deeply on our true strength and passions, using both our own insights and maybe even getting that valuable external perspective from others who see us at our best.
And then crucially, daring to express what genuinely brings us joy, even in small ways, every day. When we do that, we start to unlock a more confident, a more fulfilled, and actually a more deeply connected life.
It shifts the focus from just existing or surviving or fitting in to truly living in full color as the unique individual you are.
So the core lesson from this journey today, distilled from all these insightful sources, seems to be this. Celebrating who you are with all your flaws, all your quirks, all your unique talents, isn't some kind of optional luxury or self-indulgence.
Not at all. It's a profound act of self-care, self-respect, and ultimately self-liberation.
It definitely takes courage, though. It takes real courage to step out of the comfortable, maybe shadows of others' expectations and to decide to live your life on your own terms, guided by your internal values rather than external pressures.
It does. But the payoff is just immeasurable. A life brimming with authenticity, genuine joy that comes from within, and a deep, unshakable sense of self-worth that isn't dependent on anyone else's approval. It's entirely your own.
Absolutely. And we want to leave you, our listeners, with a powerful thought today. It comes from the late American writer and diplomat Eleanor Roosevelt, and it resonates so deeply with everything we've discussed. She said, "Remember always that you have not only the right to be an individual, you have an obligation to be one. You cannot make any useful contribution in life unless you do this."
Wow. An obligation to be an individual. That's a strong framing.
It really is, isn't it? It reframes uniqueness not just as a path to personal joy, but as essential for contributing meaningfully to the world. So the final question for you is, what choice will you make today, even a small one, to honor and celebrate the extraordinary, unrepeatable individual that you are?